This podcast could potentially have adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly the possibility of sexual content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs edition. I'm your host, Erica Lance. My co-host today is the amazing J.M. Paquette. It's been a little while since she's been on here, so it's kind of cool.
I know.
She's been hiding. Our guest today is Dennis Medbury.
Woo!
Let's talk about what we're drinking. I am finishing off my San Pellegrino Momente, pomegranate and blackcurrant with gin. And I'm almost done, so I'm feeling it nicely. JM, what's happening over there on your side of the court?
I have a lime bubbly because I'm boring. And lime bubbly is basically water with bubbles in it. It's okay.
Whatever. Dennis, what are you drinking?
I'm gonna outboring you by drinking just regular old water.
Fine. It's called drinking with authors. It doesn't say drinking alcohol.
I know. I'm regretting not having done that name. Just kidding. No, everybody should drink what they want. We are not forcing people to drink here. Just gives me an excuse. Okay, Dennis, rapid fire. You ready, my friend?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your favorite book of all time?
Can I use manga?
Sure.
One Piece.
Very cool. Why?
The world building, the comedy, the character development, the incredible way that he knows how to punch you in the feels. Just it's got everything you could possibly want.
Very cool. What is your least favorite book of all time?
Oh boy, that's putting me on the spot. Least favorite book.
We asked this of everybody, so it's not like we just picked you. Although I feel authors think we just pick them when we ask that question, but that's not the case.
I believe you. Okay, I read a book that was like some kind of D&D book kind of thing, but it was called Dark Sun. And
oh yeah, Dark Sun Universe.
Yeah, I read one of those books in DNF.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, I've come up with new questions, Jam, since you've been on, so I know I'm gonna wow you here. You ready?
I'm so excited right now.
If you could change into any one of your characters, who would it be?
Oh, yikes! I treat my character so bad. I would pick, if I could change. Well, no, I wouldn't want to live as a slave. That sounds awful. Dorian. It would have to be Dorian, even though he's got it pretty rough. He was raised by a father that loved him like crazy, and he was protected and was loved through his entire childhood.
Very cool. What's your favorite writing snack?
Nuts.
Awesome.
Pretty much all of them. Almonds, peanuts, cashews, all love.
Very cool. Jen?
What was the first album you bought yourself?
First album I bought myself. It was Metallica, Master of Puppets.
And was it DVD or was it CD? It was or cassette. Sorry.
No, cassette.
I just said DVD. Like that is where you get music.
Actually, let me back up. That was the first CD I bought. The first cassette I bought which was before that, obviously, was Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood. I regret to say.
I don't think you should regret that. That was a very popular record at that time. Thank you.
Yeah, but knowing what we know now about Tommy Lee.
Oh, there's a whole list, but back then that was a different story.
Right.
Can Can I ask the question now that you've sort of raised it? Does it matter to you if an artist does something awful? Does it affect how much you appreciate their art after the fact?
It's a real moral dilemma there, right? Because you don't want to
Right.
support people who you know are scumbags. But like, at what point? Like, okay, let's take there's a band, a heavy metal band. Can't remember their name right off the top of my head. They were actually more of a Catholic or Christian metal
Creed?
band. What?
Was it Creed?
No, not that
Okay.
big. They were rising.
Okay.
Um, they were in much heavier than Creed. But the lead singer was caught trying to hire somebody to kill his wife. Yeah. And he went to jail and everything. Now, do you buy that person's music still? Do you still listen to them? What about the other band members? They didn't do anything wrong. It's a moral dilemma, really.
Mhm.
Personal stance? No, I'm done. I will never listen to, now that I know what I know about what Tommy Lee has done, I will not listen to Motley Crue anymore.
Okay.
You don't hurt a pregnant woman holding a child. You don't. Why would you do that? Or Vince Neil, who killed somebody and spent a month in jail for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope you're not leaving Vince out of that because
Yep. No, Motley Crue were, and not to mention the entire band was pretty bad womanizers, and you know, I have little girls, like, you scumbags. Like, I don't know.
no, we get it. We get it. What about do you believe in the paranormal?
I do, but I also feel that a lot of times it can be explained away. I think it does happen. I just think that too many things are blamed on paranormal when it isn't.
No, I get that. I get that. Okay, what about your favorite book that was turned into a TV show or a mini series or a movie? Like, where do you think they did a good job?
I think they did great in Lord of the Rings. I know that they've changed The Witcher quite a bit. I never actually read the books, but I am aware of the massive changes they've made. But I tell you what, those first 2 seasons, loved them. And can I throw in one that really made me mad?
Yeah. Well, because the next question was going to be, where did they not do a good job? So perfect timing.
Well, see, it's funny. All right, so my actual favorite band of all time is Korn. I
Okay.
love that band. And when I found out that one of my favorite authors, Anne Rice, was releasing Queen of the Damned movie, and John Davis from Korn was doing the music in it, I was like, yes, this is my jam. Now, the music in it was great, but the movie was, oh my God, what did you do? This is nothing like the
It
book.
was an interesting movie. It just had to have a different title that wasn't Queen of the Damned, that wasn't supposed to be that story.
Yes,
But Stuart Townsend
exactly.
is delightful. It just is not the book at all.
Right, the acting was great, but like, I had just read that book, and when I saw it, I was like, what is happening?
That's like the Final Fantasy movie. You go in thinking, it's blood, and it's totally different.
Right. So that one did upset me, because I was a big Anne Rice fan at the time, a huge Korn fan, and man, it was a little bit of a miss for me. You're right. If they had called it something else, it would have been fine.
Well, it's true. What about what is your favorite concert you've ever been to?
Korn.
Is there
It was,
one particular? Because like me and Jen have been and saw the same people over and over again. So was there one particular show that was like the best?
I would say Lollapalooza '98. I was in Buffalo at the time, and Tool was there. I remember that. It's a little hard for me to remember because I was quite inebriated in that show.
That's not the year it rained, right? Was it 98? It was in the late 90s. It was one year where it like poured, epic poured.
I don't know. It wasn't raining when it happened in Buffalo.
Okay, so it was 90.
But also it was the second time I had met the Korn, was that day as well. The first time was in 95. They were opening for Megadeth. And I'd already seen Megadeth and I had stuff to do that day. So I left after Korn's set was done. And this guy stops me. He's like, why are you leaving? And I was like, I saw the band I wanted to see. I got stuff to do. He's like, you came here to see Korn? I was like, yeah, they're great. Want to meet them? Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
And they were shocked. This is 1995. Their first album had just come out and they didn't know that they were getting as big as they were. And they were just shocked that some kid in Buffalo knew who they even were. It was really cool. It was a really cool experience. I walked away with stacks of Korn stuff that day. They gave it to me. It was awesome.
Very cool. What about if you were casting your lead characters, who would you cast?
Well, I would, okay, so for Razul, it's a real easy pick, but I would have to de-age him a number of years, and that's Jason Momoa.
Can't go wrong with him.
No, and he's a great actor. He would be perfect, but he's too old now. Dorian, oh God, it could be anybody really. Just short. You'd have to be kind of short. But Clarissa, I've always pictured. Oh boy, I'm gonna have a hard time remembering her name. Dang it.
What else was she in?
Well, as a kid, she was in the Disney show Kicking It.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason Momoa is the big one. Oh, and for Brett the Thief, you ever watched Prison Break or The Flash?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In Prison Break, there was the two brothers. They were also in like The Flash and all that. The bigger one of the brothers was directly modeled after that actor. Brett, in my books, was directly modeled after him.
Very cool. Jen.
All right, who would win in a fight, a wizard or a fighter?
In what world?
In your world.
Well, there's a whole lot of ifs there. If they're not very close to each other, the wizard's gonna win. If they're pretty close, the warrior's gonna win.
Okay, so melee versus range then.
Yeah, basically. My magic system is a hard magic system, and it's all elemental based: earth, wind, fire, water. With I add in darkness and light. So there are like necromancers and like a lot of like paladin like buffs and that kind of stuff for darkness and light, but everything else is exactly what you think, almost like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Which worst movie ever from another thing. I know that's not a book, but oh my God, that movie was.
If it wasn't called The Last, like if it was just a separate story, it's interesting on its own. And it's fine until the Fire Nation. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. You like the new stuff?
No.
Correct answer. Correct answer.
No, I don't like any of it.
Terrible.
Except was that Rogue one?
Rogue One.
Yeah,
Rogue
I liked
One.
that one.
Party wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. What about a weird food combination that you like to eat?
Noodle sandwich.
What the hell is a noodle sandwich?
The texture.
You take some ramen noodles, you boil them up, you strain all the water out, put that little packet in there, put it on top of some bread and butter. Yummy.
Do you toast the bread?
What?
Do you toast the bread?
No,
So it's like mush.
it's bread and butter. You just pick up the bread and just heat your.
Well, if the butter's on there, the bread's not going to mush. That's why you use butter to coat things. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's delicious. Don't mock it till you tried it.
I'm gonna trust you on that.
If you could change into any type of fantastical or fairy tale, fairy, whatever kind of creature fantasy, what would you be and why?
Oh God. You see, immediately what jumped to my head was actually vampire. And the only real reason that is because I've always been fascinated with them, and they don't sparkle, by the way.
I will tell you, I record another podcast called Eerie Travels. And on that, I brought up the fact that the Twilight vampires are probably the strongest vampires. And I have an entire point to this, to which pissed off everybody on the thing. Not that I'm a huge Twilight, whatever, but there are some things you should listen to that episode, because as much as the sparkly thing, they kind of win.
No, I actually agree with you. I've seen the movies with my wife. Thank you. And and yeah, some of them are wow. Yeah, they're quite powerful. I've always been fascinated with vampires. I love vampires. But at the same point in time, I wouldn't actually want to be one because I like the sun and I don't like killing people. So
okay, so then what would you be?
Oh God, I'd have to say an elf, just because that way I get to be around for a very, very, very long time.
What kind of elf? Like what universe?
Mine, wild.
Okay.
So are your elves immortal or just long-lived?
Long-lived.
Long-lived. Cool.
I wouldn't want to be immortal.
So what superpower would you want?
If I could have any superpower in the world, it would be to know whatever information I wanted to know when I wanted to know it. And now you might think that that's Google, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, where are my keys? I'm talking about which one of my kids did this. Like
brilliant superpower. I like it.
But it could also be, what are the next lottery numbers going to be?
Right.
That's good. What is your best fan experience?
Okay, so I was calling and talking to my bank about something, whatever it was, I don't even remember anymore. And while we were just chatting, and I said, oh yeah, and I'm an author, so I guess gotta throw that in there too. I said, oh yeah, who are you? What'd you write? I said, I wrote Secrets of the Runestones. I go under the name Dennis Medbury. This person in the bank in Washington State said, you're like my favorite author. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
Oh, that is pretty brilliant.
I have no idea how somebody out in Washington State even found me.
No, I think it's a pretty amazing feeling when you've impacted people. Okay, I'm going to ask a question, Jen, then you get the final question, my friend. No pressure, but a lot of pressure. It better not be dumb. So if you could have lunch with any author, living or dead, they'd be alive when you were talking to them, who would you want to sit down and have lunch with? I had to clear up the zombie thing. Okay, we're not doing zombies. We're,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the father of my genre, it'd have to be Tolkien. I mean,
I can tell you about trees.
Yeah, but oh boy, I mean, there's also like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I wouldn't mind talking to those guys. No, I'd have to. That's a mystery I don't ever want to know until it's over. So yeah, I'd have to go with Tolkien. He's the one that started it all. I'd like to know like where it all came from, how he did it. Like, the man wrote languages. He was brilliant. Like, I think I'd have to go with him.
I like it. I approve. All right, final question. What is one of your guilty pleasures?
Okay, so as a metalhead, avid metalhead, one of my favorite songs of all time is More Than Words by Extreme.
That's not metal.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's a guilty pleasure. That is so far away from my normal tastes, but for whatever reason, I love that song.
That's awesome. God, I haven't heard that song in so long. I remember the video. It's just the two guys on the stools, right?
Yep, with their long hair, 1990s hair, and
Right?
yep, but it's a beautiful song. The harmonies in it, it's a beautiful song.
Yeah. All right. So for those of you who aren't watching, we just lost Erica, and she's in charge of the Zoom meeting. So I guess I get to ask another question. All right. Favorite character, fictional.
Boy, that's a tough one.
You went
Favorite-
away, so I asked another question.
Favorite
No, that's
fictional
perfect.
character.
I literally am having storm issues up here. So final question. Let's do it before I go out again.
I asked him who his favorite fictional character was.
Okay, good. Well, that was recorded. So now you get to do the final question.
Well,
Yeah.
no, he didn't answer yet. He's still debating. My question about his guilty pleasure, by the way, was More Than Words by Extreme.
Okay, favorite fictional character. Let's do it.
Probably Deadpool.
Okay.
Probably Deadpool. And the reason is because I can't even think about Deadpool without laughing. Every
Good.
time I think about his antics, I just start laughing. I love Deadpool. I'd have to go with him, but man, there's just so many I could go with that. Zorro from One Piece, Luffy from One Piece. Actually, I love the story of Superman. People don't, I think, view him the wrong way. Like, the point of Superman is a god living amongst men, and what do you do with those powers, and what makes your decisions right or wrong?
I love how the boys played with that show, The Boys. Like, what if
Oh,
Superman
yeah.
wasn't such a nice guy? That was a really interesting show. Dark.
Very
I do
dark.
love that show. Okay, shameless self-promotion time before my internet decides to leave us again. Where can people find you in your books?
I am on Amazon, and I am on Barnes and Noble and Books A Million. The name of my series is the Secrets of the Runestones series. The best way to find me is searching Dennis Medbury, and that's DennisMedbury. I'm also on all social media platforms. I am not very good at social media. The best one for me is probably Facebook, because I'm old.
Did she freeze again?
I think she's frozen.
Oh,
oh, no,
wait, she's moving.
You know what? I'm giving up on the storm thing. Dennis, thank you for being on the podcast today. I appreciate it. I'm very sorry for my technical issues. You've been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, this has been Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs, and apparently my internet is drunk. So I've been Erica Lance. My co-host has been J.M. Paquette. Our guest has been Dennis Medbury, and we will see you next time.
Bye.